morning. My name is Nadine Dolby, and I'm the president of Animal Advocates of Greater Lafayette. I am very pleased to have Jennifer Dehm from the Purdue College of Veterinary Medicine here with me today. Jen is the veterinary social worker at Purdue, and today we're going to talk about a theme that is close to all of our hearts for February and Valentine's Day: love. Specifically, we're going to talk about the human-animal bond, which is the love or the relationship between humans and the companion animals that we live with, and why this is important. So we had hoped to do this a little bit closer to Valentine's Day, but the snowstorm got in our way, but we are here anyhow. And I was thinking love and the human-animal bond is important any time of the year. So we emphasize it in February, but it's important all the time. Before we start talking about that, I had mentioned that Jen is a veterinary social worker, and I'm guessing there are a lot of people who have never heard of the field of veterinary social work. So can you tell us a little bit about what you do in your job every day?
Sure. So thank you for having me here today. And a veterinary social worker can wear many different hats, but the core of what I do is assist with the human-animal bond during difficult times. So many of those times there are some difficult decisions to be made. Maybe there is a diagnosis or a prognosis that's very poor. And so I can sit with a client and help them talk through some of those decisions and better understand the situation. We can kind of talk through quality of life for both the pet and the human, and what happens at the end of life. So just discussing some of those difficult decisions and just being with someone during those times is very helpful, and just provide resources and guidance through grief and loss.
That's great. Is this a pretty new field?
It is a pretty new field. It started, we had Dr. Strand down in Tennessee, University of Tennessee, who developed veterinary social work and really made it about 4 different pillars. And so we talk about grief and loss, but we also talk about animal-assisted therapy or interactions, the link between domestic violence and animal abuse, and just that human-animal bond in the history and how it's going to move forward.
That's great. So let's talk a little bit about, I'm sure people are also wondering, when we say human-animal bond, and Animal Advocates uses that in our mission statement, what do we mean by that? Can you just tell us a little bit about what is the human-animal bond?
Sure. And you had posed this question earlier, and it got me thinking about the best way to describe it would be to kind of compare it with like a human-to-human bond. With the human-to-human bond, there's almost always like a transaction, or there's a brokering where we have to prepare. Let's say we're going out to eat and we have to get ready, we have to get money, we have to plan. Whereas with a human-animal bond, there is not that compromise or that brokering or what we call that vanity. You can just be with your animal companion and be authentic and be true to yourself with that companion. There's this element of innocence and forgiveness. You don't have to be perfect in front of them, and they don't have to be perfect in front of you. And so it's just a way to be with your animal companion and be your true self.
So if you're having a bad day, your dog, your cat, your rabbit, your guinea pig, your pig, your chicken, whatever is there for you.
Right. And and along with that, we used to have our pets outside where they were guarding the land, or they were the cats who would chase the mice in the barn and clean the barn. But now our pets are inside with us more. That bond is developing. It's becoming more and more strong throughout the years. And so there's this kind of this mutual benefit to both humans and animals to have that bond together.
Okay, so there's another term you use that maybe we should explain a little bit. When you say mutual benefit, in terms of the human-animal bond, what does that mean?
And it's kind of like we described earlier. It's this, you give kindness, you're true to yourself, and in return, they're giving you kindness back.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, we feed and we play with our animal companions, and then they give us that love back. So it's almost like a positive give and intake there, and that can lead to a lot of benefits for both humans and animals.
Okay, that's great. So let's talk about the benefits to humans. Why should we have pets in our lives? I mean, what are the benefits to us as human beings from having pets?
And there's so many.
Okay. Let's
really
talk
hard.
about a few of them.
It's really hard to narrow down into 10 minutes, but the main one is that companionship, and I think that's pretty much the first thing that comes to mind is we're with this adorable, non-judgmental being that we can just be ourselves around, and that's nice when you always have to when you're out in the community, you always have to kind of be on or be something and put on an act sometimes, when you can just be with your animal and be yourself. Okay? Children and teenagers especially benefit from this companionship with their animals, because oftentimes when they're out, they do have to put kind of on this act. We all remember growing up as teenagers. And so being with their pet and their animal companion, they can just be themselves. So, and older adults too, if they're isolated or maybe their spouse has passed away, having that pet there is very helpful. But another one besides companionship is, health and well-being. And there's been lots of studies that have shown having a pet helps our own health, because we're getting out, we're walking with our dogs, or even being outside with our pets shows that helps our health. A lot of pets maybe provide us with security. We're on our own and we have a dog that is good at that sort of thing. They can help us feel safe. And then to kind of round that out in the essence of time is a lot of our pets can also help us be more independent. So we have our service dogs. They can help sense when someone's having a seizure, or studies are now showing that they can sense maybe cancer in people. And so there's lots of studies right now on just how beneficial some of these animals and animal companions are in our lives.
Sure, I've even read that, for example, when cats purr, that can help reduce someone's stress, right? So there's definitely a lot of emotional and mental and direct health benefits to having pets, both dogs, cats, and I would think particularly during the pandemic, pets have provided a lot of companionship for people when many people have not been able to see families, friends, neighbors, or go out and do their normal routine. Let's talk a little bit about the other side. How do our pets benefit from interacting with us?
Right. And, of course, apart from, they get food and they get shelter and water, which is very beneficial to them. But again, they also get safety and security from us. And so, when they're out, if they are out on the streets or out in the wild, there's a lot of energy that's expended in trying to find food or trying to find water and being safe. And so just, providing those three things is very helpful. They can save energy that way. But also being with us, there's been studies that have shown is helping them with their own health and well-being. They get exercise walking down the street, or even we have a lot of dogs that are working dogs, and so they get to maybe help out if they are on a farm with sheep. They can herd the sheep, or we have rescue dogs, so it really keeps them mentally healthy as well.
Sure, and both dogs and cats are domesticated, which means that they have for many years, hundreds of thousands of years, evolved with human beings. So they're sort of hardwired at this point to want to be with us and to benefit from being with us. So that's why we call it mutual benefit on both sides. So I think a lot of people who are watching this are probably pet owners that have pets. Can you give us just a few quick tips about ways that we could increase our bond with our pets?
Sure. Yeah, and the main one, of course, is just spend time with them and take time during the day to just do that one-on-one interaction, because it does help both. But specifically learn how to best take care of them. And whether that means, try to go to some learning opportunities about how to take care of pets, but really learn, because a dog may need something different than a cat, or a certain breed of dog may need something different than a bird. And so try to seek out a relationship with a veterinarian and learn how to best take care of that pet is probably one of the main ones. But a couple others are keep your environment safe. There are certain things that cats probably shouldn't eat, like food and plants, and same with dogs, to stay away from, so learn what those are. But I suppose the third more important one is learn how to discipline or even train your dog. Never ever hit your animal companion. That does not train your pet. Try to find a way that works for you to train your pet without any physical discipline. And that also means, if you have children, to help them learning how to interact with the pet properly. No teasing, no pulling on the ears or the tail, that sort of thing. So keep everyone safe in the home.
I love your suggestion that we spend more time with our pets, because I think that we see our cats and dogs are around all the time, and you sort of sometimes forget that they need that one-to-one time. They need that attention, and that will make the bond stronger, and will make, in some ways, it will make everyone's life a little bit easier, because you'll be more in tune with your cat or dog the more time you spend with them. So tell us, are there any initiatives that you're working on that you want to share with us, or anything else that you haven't had an opportunity to discuss here?
Yeah, so like I said, I am at Purdue, and I've been there, a year and a half. And so what I'm trying to do there is just to get resources on the human-animal bond, especially when it's regarding grief and loss. And so trying to find those resources and sharing them, whether it's on the website or however we can share that, and get that out, and to normalize that it's okay to grieve our pets when they pass away. This is a companion that's been with us, especially if it's lived a long life, that's been part of our life in our everyday routines, and it's okay to be sad and to grieve. It's kind of the price we pay for loving, and it helps us heal if we go through that grief process.
Well, I think we started with love, and I think that's a great note to end on. When the resources are available, of course, we'll share those on the Animal Advocates page and through our social media. Thank you so much, Jen, for joining us today and for celebrating February and the love that we have for our pets with us.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me.